Coming up on Mountain News this morning, more than 200 bills passed in the last legislative session are now officially state law. And officials are stressing gun safety after another teen's death from an accidental shooting.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. We are just past 5:30 on Tuesday, July 16th. Now let's go ahead and send it over to meteorologist Mace Michaels for a look at your forecast this morning.
Olivia, we are looking at warm temperatures once again today. The heat and humidity with us already at this hour, beginning the day at 75 in Whitesburg, and it is very muggy outside. Partly cloudy sky. Here in Hazard, there's sun trying to creep up. It will be shortly. You can notice a few clouds in the distance, not really too many of them. We'll call it partly to mostly cloudy this morning and a warm 73 temperature. Check out the rest of the readings. It's as high as 78 in Monticello. Good morning to you in Jackson. You're beginning the day at 77 degrees, well into the 60s from Jonesville and Wise through Clintwood and Grundy. We have some heat to talk about today once again, just like yesterday, and humidity. One thing that'll help us out, there's been a little cloud cover increasing in the overnight, and we'll have some of those clouds around throughout the day. So that'll take at least the edge off the intense heat of the sun beating right on down at you. But we'll still be into the 90s. We'll still have lots of muggy conditions outside. And notice to our north, there's some storms. Those will try to move in the late afternoon and evening. Our forecast high today, well up into the 90s, Olivia. Another hot and muggy day. A look at when things start to change, when we begin to cool, and of course more in the rain chances coming up.
All right, Mace, thank you. It has been nearly 2 years since President Joe Biden and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden were in Eastern Kentucky after the July 2022 flood. WYMT's Caroline Mueller spoke with people in the area who saw some of the security precautions taken during that visit.
President Biden and the First Lady joined Governor Andy Beshear and First Lady Brittany Beshear to tour areas that saw the most damage from the flood. Jerica Noble was helping with flood cleanup when the president arrived in Breathitt County.
We were on the lookout all day, and we saw a couple of Secret Service cars and different Secret Service agents. We talked to a couple of them, didn't get a whole lot out of them.
While the Secret Service did not tell them much, Noble says the agents had more questions for her and others in the area.
They were just asking a lot of questions. Have you seen any odd people come through? Have you seen people in the woods? So they were asking a lot of our staff if we had seen different people, just to be safe and be on the safe side.
She says it felt like a scene out of the movies.
It's always, they're super covered, there's a ton of people around them, and it was about that much, but we're from Lost Creek, so we don't see anything like that. It was pretty cool, but also kind of overwhelming, because it was like what you see on TV and what you see everywhere else, but it was just like in our backyard.
While these protocols may seem cinematic, they are real and they are necessary, as we saw at the Pennsylvania Trump rally. Officials with the Breathitt County Sheriff's Office say the Secret Service arrived days in advance, scanning the area with helicopters, searching for potential dangers. In Breathitt County, Caroline Mueller, WYMT Mountain News.
We are told everyone who attended President Biden's visit were required to have a background check. 25 years ago in 1999, another sitting U.S. president visited the mountains. President Bill Clinton visited Jackson County and Hazard for his New Markets Initiative tour. Former Hazard Police Chief Minor Allen was captain at the time of the visit and says several agencies worked together to ensure the safety of the president by closing roadways.
You know, when he came to Hazard, you know, he flew into the airport down there, and Kentucky State Police met him, and they shut down actual Highway 15 as he came into town and to the downtown area. And so no vehicles were moving anywhere in the vicinity.
Allen says they began preparations for the president a long time before he made his way to the mountains, making sure rooftops, mountainsides, and buildings were clear. More than 200 bills passed during the 2024 legislative session, and they are now officially becoming state law. Some went into effect on July 1st. The rest became statutory law yesterday. Kelsey Soto takes a look at some of the bigger and more notable measures.
A new Guardians program is being implemented in the Commonwealth. It allows some veterans and former police officers to serve in schools. Senate Bill 2, sponsored by Senator Max Wise, also calls on districts to create trauma-informed teams to improve mental health interventions. Then there's Senate Bill 20. Teens who are between 15 and 18 years old that are charged with violent offenses involving a gun will now be tried as adults. Long-range drivers might see some relief with Senate Bill 46. Senator Greg Elkins of Winchester sponsored this legislation, which gives motorists permission to tint the entire front windshield of their vehicle. 70% of light must still be able to pass through. This will put Kentucky in line with federal safety standards and does not allow for red or yellow tinting material. 12 and 13-year-olds will be able to be employed by nonprofits thanks to Senate Bill 128. The bill's sponsor says it will help teach them life and employment skills. Organizations will need to get approval from the state, and teens cannot work more than 18 hours a week. Cursive now a requirement in elementary schools. Senate Bill 167 states teachers must ensure that students are proficient in cursive handwriting by the end of 5th grade. In the other chamber, House Bill 378 changes the official state rock to coal. Every student bus rider and at least one of their parents must now sign a transportation agreement with their school district, according to House Bill 446. It would explain any consequences for misbehavior. House Bill 30 creates a suicide prevention program for service members, veterans, and their families. And more oversight for parents with House Bill 174. Guardians will have access to their child's medical records. Currently, those 13 and older must sign a waiver for their parents to get access.
That was Kelsey Soto reporting. Kentucky State Police are investigating a shooting in Estill County that killed a 14-year-old. KSP says the initial investigation indicates they were shot by a 13-year-old child. Sherry Hannon works for Safe Kids Fayette County, a childhood injury prevention program through University of Kentucky. She says many of the deaths involving children with guns can be prevented. Hannon says firearms should be unloaded and locked in gun safes with ammunition stored separately.
We want to make sure that if kids can gain access, they're around those as they become older, that they really have the respect and understanding about how to handle a gun.
Hannon says when it comes to firearms around children, there is always a potential for an already dangerous scenario to take a deadly turn. The man being charged with a deadly stabbing at the Friendship House in Louisville has another court date. Kenneth Muse is expected back in court on July 29th for his arraignment. He's facing charges for the murder of Brenda Kemp that happened on May 15th. Muse signed in as a visitor and he even called 911 to report the stabbing. He had been out on parole since 2019 for a previous murder conviction that happened back in 1975. A Madison County woman is recovering 2 weeks after she was found shot in her front yard as her home burned down. Nancy Irwin was found with a life-threatening gunshot wound on June 29th. Her sister-in-law Larissa says she's undergone 2 surgeries since, and there's a chance she'll need more. Larissa says Nancy was shot by Jerry Thigpen, who later set the home on fire and was found dead inside.
She's lost everything. There's nothing left, and just trying to pick up the pieces and where do you go from here.
According to our sister station, court records show Nancy tried to get an EPO against Thigpen back in May. It was later dismissed. She tried to evict Thigpen in February of this year. A Manchester man is facing charges after police found drugs on him during a traffic stop. The incident happened yesterday when deputies with Corbin PD pulled over 45-year-old Denny Taylor on traffic-related offenses. During a search of the vehicle, officers found a quantity of suspected meth as well as related paraphernalia. Taylor was taken to the Knox County Detention Center. A registered sex offender is facing several charges after running away from police in Corbin. 42-year-old Ricky Becker was riding a bike yesterday when police stopped him for traffic-related offenses. When police determined that he was intoxicated and armed with a knife, Becker took off down a steep bank and into a creek. He was later found hiding in a trash can. Police say Becker did not properly register as a sex offender when he moved to Corbin. A Pulaski County man is in jail after he reportedly stole a garden tiller at a home in Knox County. July 5th is when Knox County Sheriff deputies responded to the complaint. Nearly a week later, police were searching the area close to where the reported theft occurred. That's when they found Robbie Renner of Braunston. Police arrested Renner after he tried to evade them on foot. He was taken to the Knox County Detention Center. When we return, AT&T paid the price for shallow security as a hacker stole millions of data from users.
We have one more day of heat and humidity in the area with temps in the 90s, then shower and storm chances move in, followed by cooler temps. Full forecast is straight ahead.